Introduce Pete, who will then be the moderator, and he will also introduce Peter.
And I'll clap at once, guys. As Grayson mentioned, my name's Pete. I'm the Vice President of Fundraising. We're here tonight, we're gathered here today, to talk about the inspiration behind all of this, what we've been doing for most of the semester. Obviously, as you guys know, we're doing the 5K for Kenya, so we can talk about, well, I guess I'll introduce Peter first. 14-time All-American. He's an instructor at Arkansas Baptist, 5K, 10K, 1,500 specialist. If anybody knows what that means. Can you guys hear me? Okay, just want to get you guys loud here. He also owns Kosgei Investment, which has brought water, he's brought electricity, he's brought a hotel to his home of Kapsabet, Kenya. And like I said, guys, he's the inspiration with what we've done this whole semester, and I want you guys to give him a big round of applause. I gotta go buy a script because I get nervous in front of big crowds too. Like I said, tonight we're here to witness firsthand just how truly amazing this person is. You know, I had a one-liner I told Shelby earlier, you know, you guys can try to walk a mile in his shoes or a day in his shoes, but the joke's on you because he doesn't have any shoes. So. With that being said, we're going to kind of do a Q&A session tonight. Feel free to raise your hand and ask questions at any time. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and reel off a few questions for the man of the hour tonight. My first question for you is kind of like, how was school growing up for you? Oh, you got one.
Yeah, I want. Well, when I grew up, let's just wait one second. When I grew up, my parents separated when I was 3. So that was the beginning of my life. So I stayed with my mom until 6th grade. Okay, yeah, 6th grade for most of the time. And I would run to school every day since I was in kindergarten. My school, I thought, was 8 miles, but last year when I went home, I had an opportunity to have a car, and I drive because I want to make sure I always tell you it was 8 miles. But since this time I had a car, I want to prove how long it was. It's about 7.6 miles to my school. Not 8, but still very close to 8. But I would go morning, come back for lunch, go back to school, and then come back in the evening. So 7.6 times 4 a day for 8 years. So it's long. No public transport, nothing. So, well, that's, short part of the story. It's a long story, so let's keep going.
All right, my next question is, how did you exactly get to the United States?
Well, in Kenya education system, we have an education system we call it 844. 844 system means that you go from 1st grade to 8th grade, and then from 8th grade to go to high school, which is 9th grade to 12th grade, and then you got college, so it's 844 system. When I finished 8th grade, we have to do a national examination. It's done nationwide. It's very strict. It's guarded by the police, so nobody's gonna steal the test. And if it's math at 8 o'clock in the morning, every student in the whole country to math, and it's the same question number one for every student in the whole nation, so it's very fair exam. And then from that point, you put your name is put in a computer, and then the computer randomly picks which school you go. Now, for you guys, you go to school very close to home. My school was like way a mile away, so from my freshman in college, I'd come home probably 2 weeks. So out of the whole year, basically stay home maybe 2 months the whole year. So out of all 12 months, maybe 10 out in school. And when you are within the school, in the high school, most people look far away. They make sure that you are in a place around that area because of the high school kids, so they watch you. You don't leave school compound without a permission. You only leave when you go home and you come in when you come to school. So no leaving school in the middle of semester. So you cannot leave school compound. So it's like prison system. Actually, I think prison is doing better. But that's how I went to high school. And my high school, I was chosen to go as a little bit bigger school, but I could not afford the school fees. So I had to go to a little bit smaller school, which was funded by the Christian Church, Church of Christ.
Now, how were you presented with the opportunity to come to the United States? Was there a special person? Or?
Well, when I went to Church of Christ High School, I had an opportunity to meet the missionaries from the United States. And basically, well, I used to be good student in the class, and I took some of their classes, and every time I would make a perfect score in the exams. And they didn't wonder, what I was doing. And then one day, on Thursday, I was kicked out of school because I didn't pay my school fees. So Michael Salsa, who was a missionary at that time, came to class and he couldn't see me, so I asked everybody, where's Peter? I haven't seen Peter for 2 days. When he went home, he didn't have enough fees. So he said, can I find anybody to go find Peter? One student said, yeah, I know where he lives, I know where he's home. So he gave him my transport money towards his public transportation out there. So he gave us the money, come all the way to my house. Found me working in my farm, and I have a small farm. My grandmother used to, have some sugar cane and some vegetables, and he was like, okay, Mr. Salsa said come to school and he's paying for your school fees. So I went to school, and that's what I did at high school. So when I graduated from senior high, I had a good grade. I was a valedictorian of my class. And they said, okay, we can get to Harding University in Sasi, Arkansas. Anybody know where it is? Harding? Harding is like in Sasi, Rock. Yeah, I said, well, we can get you to Harding with scholarship for track. So, and that's when I had an opportunity to come to Harding.
When was your first pair of shoes? How old were you?
My first pair of shoes, I think it was in 7th grade.
You know the brand?
No, it wasn't. It was called, I think it was called Kodak. No, Kodak. Yes, K-O-D. It's Kodak. It's a plastic shoes, actually. When it's still hot, you can't take them off. It was kind of like plastic shoes, cheap shoes. My mom bought for me for like, I don't know how much. But she worked hard for it, so I don't know how much she bought it for. So.
Now, how would you say running has affected your life?
Definitely that changed a lot. Because if it wasn't for running, I don't think I would have made the United States in the first place. So that gave me an opportunity to come to school like Harding and then eventually transferred to University of Arkansas, the press school here, especially the College of Business. So, yeah.
Now, how have you impacted your hometown?
Well, the first thing when I did was when I came to Harding, we had a 5K race like this. And that was in 2003. I think I still got a t-shirt in my house. I sent it so much. And it's one of those good positions. Well, when I was in high school, we would get water from the borehole. You guys know what the borehole is? They have a deep hole on school compound, and then you would pull the water. And the funny thing is that they didn't have a pool. I don't know why they didn't even make a regular pool for people to use it. I'm thinking, boys used to pull the water, and the thing is that we would drink the same water. Yeah, drink the same water. People would, throw some stuff, sometimes kids would throw some nasty stuff in there, but you still drink it. I mean, okay. And we use the same water for shower. You take to your dorm, you had a small place behind your doors, so guys would shower, like 20 of us, everyone with their own bed, with the water thing, bathing, but like 20 of us in a line. In America, it's pretty crazy, but out there it was okay, and they still do it. So when I came here, I said my first thing I want to do is I want to help the school have water. That was my first priority. So when I got to Harding, we did that. So they had running water in my school now. They have running water, and I want to double check last year to make sure it's running. They had running water, and they had electricity. When I was there, we didn't have electricity. We had a generator. It was donated by somebody, I don't know where in the U.S., somebody donated a generator from high school. And our generators, sometimes something would go bad, and we didn't have any lights. So we stayed, without light. But they would switch it off at 10 o'clock at night. Somebody like me, who I was book guy, I love books so much, I had my kerosene lamp. You know what the kerosene lamp, kerosene lamp? When people go to bed at night, I was at night hall. I would wake up at night, sneak out to class, and I got in trouble twice from the teacher. But after that, they gave up on me because I wanted to read the book. I wanted to, if I missed something from class, that's how bad, to be successful is how bad you really want. It's like when you get this at the water, learning to breathe. Anybody here, when you're learning to swim, and then you sink, you know how bad, how you really want to breathe that air? That's how it was for me. Because I knew my only way was out of this place, for school.
many students would you say you support back home?
So far I have 10. It's actually 12, but the target personal is 10. 2 is funded by my friend who wants to school together. He works for Kenya Commercial Bank and works in a bank. He said he was not sponsored what I did. He said, I want this wedding. He invited me for his wedding last year. And in the wedding, he asked me, what do you do now? I told him I had gone to visit one of the students I was helping. And then he was like, oh, I had that both, I think it was 6 last year, then I had 4 more. He said, okay, I'm going to do 2 for you. So I gave him 2 students, so he's paying for the 2, so that I'm, do the 10 myself.
Now, what comes with sponsoring and what all do you do for it?
What I do most of the time is, well, I help them, shopping, like when I go home in December, I make sure they have, once in Kenya, they have uniform. Every high school they got uniforms, so I make sure they have at least 2 pairs of uniform. And I also make sure they have extra books to read. Don't depend on what the teachers give to them. Tell them you need to write them the knowledge, to read something outside class. And then also, pay them for the school fees, at the end of the year. But I try to pay at least half of it at the beginning of the year, so, and then the other is pay installment. Because my salary is not a lot, being an instructor, I don't make a lot of money. It's not like I'm a CEO of a company. So I do some little installment and pay. Actually, 2 of them, they go to very small, not very small, but very close to my hometown. So what I did is I told the principal what I will do is, because the school consume corn, I said, instead of me paying you school fees, I will give you a certain sacks of corn. So instead of me selling to you, you can just substitute that for the school fees for students. So what?
Do you have people that also help support your efforts over there, or is everything you do just individual?
Well, I do it individual, and I believe some people out there too. Some people I know, some of my high school teachers, they help some kids. And I know my 8th grade teachers pay for 2 kids from my village. So it's not one person doing it. All the community does it. Even sometimes we have a fundraising, the whole villagers come together, and they just want to get to go to school. So it's a part of the community thing. So I know that a lot of people do it. But I can do it, with the help of you guys, I can help, more than what you do.
I guess if there's no further questions, I think we all more than a round of applause. We also have a prize for you, so you guys sit back down. As a token of your appreciation, we have a shirt. It's going to look like you just got drafted.
Wow, right there, right there.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
I want to
awesome.
know, can you dig it though?
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, AMA, for doing this, helping one student out there in Africa, in Kenya particularly. It's personal to me. So educating one student at a time, that's my goal. I cannot educate the whole Kenyan, but I can educate them one at a time. One at a time, and tell them, hey, educate one more. Educate one more. Hopefully in the future will change. Sometimes you do something small for somebody and it impacts them for their whole entire life. Somebody who paid me $100 when I really needed it, it's priceless. If someone tells me that you give them, it's nothing I can give to them because that $100 that time I really needed more than 10,000 now. Okay, so it's amazing, and I appreciate you guys for doing it. Okay, thank you so much.